Yo, 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 yo. Welcome to another episode of EmpireJeffTV. I am your host, Empire Jeff, coming to you on a Tuesday night live from Los Angeles, California, home of your Los Angeles Dodgers, my Los Angeles Dodgers, our two-time defending champion, back-to-back World Series champion, Los Angeles Dodgers. Hope everyone's having a good night. Hope everyone had a good day. And now we are here to talk some Los Angeles Dodgers, some New York Mets, some New York Yankees, probably some Cubs, probably some Giants, probably some Diamondbacks, probably some Padres, probably a whole bunch of stuff tonight because it's a quiet day in the MLB on the surface. But the back channeling is going on, as it always does in the off season. And we're kind of in that weird little space between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Not a whole lot of things are going on right now that have risen to the surface, like I said, but there are all kinds of conversations going on behind the scenes. There are all kinds of proposals being exchanged. There are all kinds of frameworks being exchanged, conversations, meetings. And you've reached a point where a lot of these guys have met with teams in person already. And now they're, doing the follow-up Zoom calls and the follow-up number and money talk calls and meeting with their agents after the agent meets with the team independently of the player. And it's that kind of time of the season where the holidays are leading up and we're all just sitting back and waiting to see what is the next shoe to drop in the 2025 Major League Baseball off season. We're sitting back. How are these teams adjusting to the Dodgers winning back-to-back World Series titles? What are these teams doing to prepare for a potential three-peat won by the Dodgers? What are these teams doing? What are the Dodgers doing? And what are these players sitting back watching and looking? And you kind of have this situation where you've got it's like a triangle. You've got the Dodgers, you've got the rest of Major League Baseball, and then you got the players. And they're all kind of looking, where is this shifting? What is going on? What's going to happen? Where does Tucker go? What happens with Skubal? What are the Mets? What are the Yankees going to do? And who do the Dodgers land? Because the back channel talk is there's a lot of belief the Dodgers are still going to do something, quote unquote, big. Now, I'm not saying they're getting both Tucker and Skubal or getting either one of them. But the thought is, and the expectation and the belief from people that I've talked to, both around the Dodgers and just around the league in general. And the reason I put the Mets and the Yankees into the conversation tonight, because I spent a lot of time talking with a couple of people who kind of really keep an eye and an ear on the Northeast. And there's some interesting things and some interesting conversations because someone had seen my video last night. Someone I know saw the video last night and, shot me a message today and was talking about something I talked about last night. So I'm going to bring that back up again. So the Yankees and Mets are going to be a topic of conversation tonight because it does affect the Dodgers. It does relate to the Dodger situation because one of the things that came up in a conversation tonight is a very interesting topic. And I'm going to touch on that in a little bit. If you guys haven't done so already, please drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. We cover the Los Angeles Dodgers and Major League Baseball over here. Formerly used to cover the NBA and the Lakers. I don't know if I'm ever going back to that. I keep trying. The interest meter just doesn't seem to get there. But right now we're talking Dodgers, we're talking baseball, we're talking rumors, we're talking all kinds of things. So when it comes to the Dodgers, it seems like teams around the league believe that they are absolutely in play on Kyle Tucker. They believe that they are in play on Kyle Tucker. And the conversation I heard was, I asked someone is it going to be something like that Bregman deal? And they're like, yeah, it could absolutely be something like that Bregman deal. I go, could it be something else? And they're like, yeah, it could be something else. And I started, he goes, there's been other deals that the Dodgers have done for really high AAV, and it really didn't make sense for it to go past 1 year, but the insurances and the security was there for the player. And so immediately I knew who he was talking about, and I was comparing it to the Bauer deal, which pretty much guaranteed that Bauer would hit free agency after year one, barring him some type of major injury, and he protected himself with back-to-back years, I believe, of $20 million options. So you could see maybe you don't get the 4 to 5 year, $250 million offer with 50 per year. Maybe you don't get that. Maybe you get a crazy, ridiculous number in year one, and then you see that tail off year after year after year after year. So maybe it's not a $50 million per year for 4 years. maybe it's not that. It could be something obnoxious in the first year that tails off in year 2, 3, and 4, and still gets him a guaranteed sum of money if he were to get injured. But at the same time, for the Dodgers, it protects them with the big amount of money being paid up front in year 1. And I also got a little pushback on them when I was talking about when they were talking about the Tarik Skubal and the trade and a potential Dodger extension, and how I'm kind of getting more and more like realistic every day, or realistically thinking this could happen every day. Told you it started at a 10% in the winter meetings. I was about a 35% last night. And now I think I'm back to like 30. I think I'm rolling a little bit backwards on Tarik Skubal right now, as far as a trade being done without an extension, or an extension being a possibility. Now, any of this can change. This can change tonight. The Dodgers can make a trade tomorrow. I'm just saying, I'm starting to kind of go a little bit backwards here than I was last night. And this happens. I did this with Diaz too. I was like, no way. Then I was like, oh, maybe. Then I'm like, and then I was like, oh, man, now I'm thinking day by day we're going to get him. I haven't reached that conclusion yet with Skubal or Tucker, where I'm waking up every day feeling like way better and way better and way better about their chances, like I did with Ohtani, like I did with Yamamoto, like I did with Snell, like I did with Tanner Scott, like I eventually did with Edwin Díaz. I have not reached that level yet with either of Tarik Skubal or Kyle Tucker, but it's definitely more of where it was when the offseason started. So Tarik Skubal, I kind of got pushed back on because they brought up a very good point as we started kind of having some dialogue with this. And what I basically took away from this is that the Dodgers have a legit worry about the New York Mets and their ability to spend. The Dodgers have a legitimate worry about that. The New York Mets also see an opportunity to compete with the Dodgers financially. So here's the thing. Push comes to shove, we have yet to see the Dodgers and the Yankees, excuse me. When push comes to shove, we have yet to see the Dodgers and the Mets go book for book on a top tier free agent. And what I mean by book for book, I mean checkbook for checkbook for a top free agent. Because while the Dodgers kind of engaged Soto, they had no interest in topping $600 million, which essentially took them out of the mix rather quickly. So they have yet to go book for book with the Mets. And from what I understand, the Dodgers have a legitimate concern about trading for Skubal, and then the Mets being able to just bust out that checkbook and continue to just write until they get him, without having to get up the prospects. And the pressure would be all on the Dodgers to get that deal done, because what they would have to give up to get him as a rental. So the Mets are sitting back, and from what I'm understanding as of right now, they're not really in it from a trade perspective on Skubal. They're sitting back and waiting for him to get to market. Now, I don't know if Skubal or Boris has essentially told them, like, there's no way we're signing an extension anywhere. So you can pretty much do the same thing you did with Soto, wait it out. And if they wait it out and they have all their prospects and they're able to secure Skubal as a free agent, and then they can have all this offseason and next year, whatever, to put together the best possible package for a Paul Skeens, which we talked about last night. Now you could be looking at the Mets having Soto, having Lindor, assuming they keep him, and then being able to go out there and sign Skubal and then trade for Skeens. The Dodgers, on the flip side of that, are looking at this like, we will trade for Skubal, and we want to extend Skubal, and then still build up the farm system to go after and trade for Skeens. The Mets don't really have that option. So the Dodgers are like, okay, if we get outbid on the trade market for Skubal without an extension, and then we battle it out with the Mets in the offseason to sign him as a free agent, then still have assets to go out there and trade for Paul Skeens. So this is the level of train of thought where these two teams are kind of playing chicken here with their checkbooks. And the Dodgers have a legitimate concern and are legitimately worried that the New York Mets will spend recklessly, because they don't necessarily spend smartly. They spend because they can. They don't always dump the money into the best fit, to the best player, to the best circumstance. There is a lot of people, a whole lot of people around Major League Baseball who absolutely believe that Juan Soto contract will be horrid within 5 years. Within 5 years, he will not be able to play any defense in the field at all, which he really can't anyways. But now you're going to pretty much box him in as a DH for 10 years. 10 years. So it's a very, very, very delicate situation in the future when it comes to Soto and the Mets. Soto's an incredible player. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. If they can put the pieces around him, he can help them win a World Series. This isn't a bash Soto stream. What I'm saying is the Mets have a lot more pressure on them to get their moves right than the Dodgers do, because the Dodgers are coming off back-to-back World Series champions. They're going to be favored to win the three-peat. Matter of fact, with absolutely no moves being made over this last week, the Dodgers have gotten more and more and more as the favorite betting-wise. So the market definitely believes that the Dodgers are up to something else that's pretty big. Definitely believe that. And with that being said, the New York Mets are kind of sitting back, kind of positioning themselves, doing kind of Dodgers in 2022 moves in the postseason. It's kind of what it's feeling like. You know, they had a monster 2023, a monster 2024, off to a great start in 2025 when it comes to the offseason. But the New York Mets are sitting here like, we might just sit this one out right now. We had a big splash last year, one of the biggest splashes in MLB history. We're going to let some guys dip. We're going to let some guys walk out. Dodgers let Corey Seager walk. They let Trey Turner walk. Ended up okay for them. And remember how I said you're starting to see some of these teams kind of take a page out of the Dodgers book. We're kind of seeing that with Toronto. Maybe, just maybe, I don't know this to be true yet because they got to play this out. Maybe the New York Mets are taking a page out of this Dodger book too by letting some of these guys walk, not signing them long-term, not keeping Nimmo, not signing Alonso, not signing Diaz, and taking a page out of that Dodger book to sit back and wait for their guys. Now, are those guys Skubal and Skeens? We'll see. We'll see. We know that they were sitting back waiting on Vladdy. They were praying that Vladdy would become a free agent and that they could pair him with Soto. They were hoping and praying for that. And there was a lot of people at that time who thought that could legitimately happen. But then Vladdy went out and signed that contract extension with Toronto, which didn't seem likely after they went into the season without it. So shout out to Toronto for getting that done, because once they locked that in and got that done, a couple months later, the Blue Jays were on their way, made a run all the way to Game 7 of the World Series. So that's the Mets and the kind of the standoff with the Dodgers. The team that always used to be the standoff with the Dodgers and win that standoff with regularity is the New York Yankees. And the New York Yankees, once again, are kind of sitting back, hoping to not have to go book to book with either one of these teams. They don't want to go checkbook for checkbook with the Mets or the Dodgers. They don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. And I'm hearing that the Yankees now are really viewing the Mets as a real threat for Bellinger. They're really getting nervous over there that they may lose. They lost Soto, they lost Williams, and now they may lose Bellinger to Queens. They legitimately believe that this is a possibility. So if you're the New York Yankees, and if your top 3 free agents, one of them just picked up the qualifying offer because his agent was probably telling him after back channel, like, look, these deals ain't out there for you. Take this qualifying offer. He took that. The Yankees didn't think he would take it. They took it. Then Williams walks for nothing. And there's a chance that Bellinger could walk for nothing and go to the Mets. I also heard that the Dodgers actually made somewhat of an offer to Bellinger, or at least an offer to get started in negotiations. Now, I'm told that offer was not one that they expected him to take off the rip, but enough to get a conversation going. So I have no idea if those conversations are still going. But I definitely heard that the Dodgers put in an offer for Bellinger to open the doors for conversation, in which I said that the Dodgers have a seat at the table with everybody. We talked about this last night. They have a seat at the table with everybody. So everybody, even if it's a guy that's probably 8th or 9th on their board, they've got a seat at the table with Boris. They got a seat at the table with the Tigers for Skubal. Boris is part of that. They got a seat at the table with Tucker. They got a seat at the table with Bichette. Seat at the table with Murakami. Seat at the table with Bellinger. Had a seat at the table with Williams and Díaz. And you know me, you know the mantra. The Dodgers will sit around and wait for teams to get stupid. They will sit around and wait for teams to get stupid. And as teams get stupid, the Dodgers get deeper. The Dodgers just show up with like this blue broom and dustpan and just start sweeping up players after the other teams just spill their mess everywhere. Just sweep them up. Sweep them up. Scoop them up. Get them. Let's go. And that seems to be what they're still doing, what they want to do. And it's going to be a very interesting couple of weeks here. Very interesting couple of weeks, but definitely hearing that the Dodgers are approaching this offseason with the thoughts in the back of the mind when it comes to Tarik Skubal, that if it hits the free agency, that they may not be able to get him. And there is a strong possibility that there will not be a trade with an extension. Because as I said, Boris, who likes to get the #1, the best deal in free agency history, almost every time he has a guy out there, wants to get that for Skubal. Now, my pushback, and this is what the guy hit me up on earlier today, my pushback was, why can't he be the guy that gets the biggest extension in MLB history? Why can't he be that? And he goes, well, true. But what if him signing that extension costs his guy $50 million? And you know me, I'm like, well, he's going to play $400 million and play for the Dodgers. He'll make that up in LA. He's like, well, it's not that simple. It's not that simple. Sometimes that matters to the player too, not just the agent. And again, Boris is a partner with his players, not just his agent. Like, they approach things very differently than your average agent and ball player do. Most agents work for the ball player. When Boris and his players have a partnership, they're on the same page. They're on the same page. So I'm curious to see where this goes, but I'm very curious to see what and when the next moves are for the New York Mets and how this sets up. How does this go? I thought they'd be in on Suarez. Hearing they were, but Atlanta beat them out. So now they've been beat out. They beat the Yankees out on Williams, but they got beat out on Díaz, and they got beat out on Suarez. Now, what I mean by beat out is they clearly didn't feel like they wanted to offer more than they did. They could have got him. They could have outspent Atlanta. They could have outspent the Dodgers on Díaz. They chose not to. They offered just enough for Díaz to go back to the Dodgers one more term and never look back. Never look back. And now you kind of know that it's probably why the Dodgers didn't go full out aggressive on Williams. And they really didn't go full out on Iglesias. They didn't really go. They met with Suarez twice, I was told. And it was probably mainly as a kind of just fallback option once the other guys dried up. But I'm very interested to see what the Mets do next, because to see if that kind of tips their cap or tips their hand a little bit as to what their next move might potentially be. If they start getting linked to these Skubal talks via trade, that'd be very interesting. I don't think that's going to happen. But if he hits free agency, you're going to see a lot of teams in on it. And then you're going to see teams start to fall off as it gets in the 400 and up range. Probably 350 and up range. The Yankees probably fall off there. Some of the other teams. And the consensus is around the people that I've spoken to is that if this goes to free agency, it's going to come down to the Dodgers and the Mets. And like I said, the Dodgers and the Mets have yet to go book to book, book versus book for book in free agency over the same player. Because as far as we know, the Mets really aren't in on Tucker, unless It's just one of the greatest mysteries we've seen this offseason, one of the greatest secrets we've come across this offseason. We also, now maybe there could be a battle for Bellinger if the Dodgers get serious there, but I don't think the Dodgers are going to go book for book on Bellinger. I think there's a certain number they're like, nah. It'd be cool. It'd be nostalgic, but nah. Been there, done that, pass. If his market collapse, we'll be right here again with the blue pen and the blue broom to swoop up when other teams get stupid. We'll be here for that. But we're not getting into a bidding war for Cody Bellinger, and I don't think that they should. I don't think that they would. They could, but I don't think they should or that they would. So the Tucker thing, I think, is kind of the one that's really holding some things up because I think this Skubal thing can go on a while. This is why I said when that report came out, I didn't buy it because I did not believe in no way, shape, or form that this would go down at the winter meetings or could go down at the winter meetings. It made no sense. No sense. But this Tucker thing, if he ends up with the Blue Jays, that would probably be the safe bet right now. So I think it comes down to, unless there's a mystery team, which in MLB, there's always a damn mystery team. So if I had to guess right now, I would say 60% Toronto, 40% Dodgers. And that's probably being a little optimistic for the Dodgers right now. It's going to come down to where does he really want to play and how much money is he willing to leave on the table to play where he wants to play. I also was told that don't count on, in the event of the unlikelihood of an extension for Skubal, do not expect Boris to be very willing with a very deep deferral. Doesn't mean they can't work something out. But if you're trying to overpay to secure an extension and you're getting to $400 million, I wouldn't think that the deferral is going to be all the way up there. Because if Boris is going to get that record extension, there probably will be deferrals. But probably not to the extent that the Dodgers would like. I think they'd still do it, though. They'd still do it. But we're going to have to wait and see. Shout out to everyone tuning in. I am Empire Jeff. This is EmpireJeffTV. We're talking to Dodgers. We're talking to Mets. We're talking to Yankees. MLB rumors for the 2025 offseason. If you have not done so already, please drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Appreciate everyone who has done so. We had a pretty good show. Pretty good set of videos yesterday. A lot of good engagement. A lot of new people joining the team. A lot of new people joining the what we're building over here. So I definitely greatly appreciate that. But I'm curious to know what you guys think. I feel like every day, maybe our minds can get swayed a little bit, right? We want to know when this is happening. We want this to happen now. To me, I'm fine. If this goes a few more weeks, even into January, because as long as he hasn't signed with someone else, he is still eligible to sign with the Los Angeles Dodgers and being Tucker. And if he has not been traded anywhere else, being Skubal, then he has a chance to be still traded to the Los Angeles Dodgers. So let me go ahead and get this out the way real quick. For all your shopping needs, for all you late shoppers like me, I've started my shopping. I have not completed my shopping. So I definitely got to get and tap my own Fanatics links for this. But get all your MLB, NBA, NFL gear and more, including your Los Angeles Dodgers championship gear. Make sure to use our link at Fanatics to get special discounts, and your purchase also helps support the channel. We partnered with the good people at Fanatics, so when you order through us via them, they take care of us because we sent you that way. So great deals going on right now for the holidays. Great championship merch, whether you're getting your NFL, NBA, MLB, or great memorabilia as well. Make sure to tap that link to go in and get some of the greatest merch in the game to represent your team and your back-to-back World Series champions. So shout out to everyone. Joe, what's going on, Joe? Yankees and Mets have their thumbs up there behind. Anaheim. Yeah, so far they've been kind of quiet. I'm just waiting to see, are the Mets going to do something? Are they going to do something? Are the Yankees going to do something? And Sammy, what's going on? What's going on, man? the Yankees just can't do nothing, man. Like they can't do nothing. I think that there's gonna be something big that happens, and everyone's gonna be like, oh, okay, Cashman was working on this. Cashman was cooking. Or the Mets are gonna, or something's gonna happen, come out of nowhere. The Mets will be like, oh, Stearns and Cohen got it done. I don't know what that is for them this season, this offseason. I don't know what it is. I know all the talk of Fernando Tatis Jr. being traded has been kind of shot down, but I really think that there is a, depending on how the Padres play next season, if it's approaching the halfway point and they just have no shot at the playoffs, maybe they entertain it then. But I think next offseason is going to be the window where Tatis potentially could get moved. I mean, I'll never say never this offseason. I just don't think it's going to happen. But I think the Yankees and the Mets are sitting back and waiting on that situation to see what can become of that. So I think there's some guys that might become available during the season, potentially heading into a lockout or after the lockout or potential lockout if there is one, where you're going to see kind of some of these big names, big money guys kind of move around the league a little bit, especially if the Padres get sold. The Padres get sold, those new guys may want to come in and clear the deck, get the prospects rebuilt, restack, and in 3 years or so, try to be in contention. So I can see Tatis being out of there. Rumors are they're already trying to trade Pivetta or Mason Miller. The Mets have been linked to that. So I heard that the Mets and the Padres have had numerous talks about numerous different packages. So the willingness for the Mets to let Diaz walk out the door wouldn't matter that much if they secure Mason Miller, which I've heard they're very interested in and are going after. And the Padres just have no starting pitching and they don't have a way to add a bunch of guys, and they may have to start moving on some of these guys that they gave up their top prospect for to get in Mason Miller. Daniel Barry, what's going on, man? Happy Tuesday to you as well. Hope you're doing well. He said, go Dodgers, search and destroy the mod god, the god of mods, the mod father, the best in the absolute business. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for tuning in as always. Joseph says that hat is smooth. Yeah, man. Any championship hat with the Dodgers in it is great. Haven't seen you on mine in a while. Go Lakers, go Dodgers. Craig, what's going on, man? What's going on? Hope you're doing well. Let me get out of everyone talking to themselves here. Let me skip that. Maybe Skubal for King, Kopech trade, switch teams, different team in the winter of 2026. I think you said this last night, but are you saying King Kopech? You're not talking about Michael King, but Kopech can't be traded because he's a free agent, unless you're assuming that Kopech signs there and then Skubal gets traded here. Cuba, what's going on, my guy? Go Dodgers, OKC, Eagles, Florida, Panthers, Ohio State. And now the bandwagon is part of the Knicks due to the in-season cup. Jeff, the bandwagon is making moves. Yeah. What up, Cuba? Yeah, the Knicks won that, huh? The Knicks have won the cup. The cup. What's going on, Drip Show? What's going on, Chris, the graphic god, man, the best in the business. Like I said, you see Mookie over this shoulder. We got Kobe over the left shoulder. Still got that limited drop over at legendsofculture.com. Called a little collaboration with Drip Show, man. The Ruining Baseball Collection, legendsofculture.com. Go check it out, man. We got some good merch over there. legendsofculture.com. What's going on, Ron? Appreciate you, brother. What's up with you, man? Hope you're doing well. We got OTC said we want Skubal. Oh yeah, we definitely want Skubal. But we want the Padres. We want I keep calling them. We want the Tigers, and we definitely want Boris to play ball and negotiate a damn extension, because without it, I think it might be a little bleak, man. I think it could be a little difficult to get a deal like that done if they can't agree to some type of extension. The Dodgers really are going to empty the clip, and that really does open the door for some other teams to come in and go after him as a rental. EmpireJeffTV, best two-way channel on YouTube. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, but I got to get back to covering both sports to claim that crown. Hope I get it before Christmas. What are you talking about? Just got your How We Ruin Baseball back to back. Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. So I believe, I think everything that's been ordered to date I don't think there's anything else pending. So I think everything, if you've ordered it, I think it should be on its way anytime soon now. So appreciate that, Search. You should be able to definitely get that before Christmas. Murakami news has been 0. Sounds like a Dodgers sort of thing. It can, yeah. I mean, again, I think it's a little shocking how we're hearing now. Again, let me back up a little bit. When it comes to the Japanese players, you got to be a little careful on the reports. The reports are that a lot of teams are viewing him as a prospect, right? But we also with the pitchers. I mean, Ema, we don't know. I think I botched his name. Ema. We don't know necessarily what those talks are like. The Japanese players, I feel like we know less and less about until it just happens. We could assume like someone is a very, very betting favorite, hoping that Murakami does indeed end up on the Dodgers. And because they're favored betting wise to get him. However, all it takes is for one team to say, okay, look, we think he's a prospect, but we're going to bet on him. And because he could be bang or bust. There's no ifs, and or buts about it. I have no idea where he's going to go. I had the Dodgers as not in on him at all. When that report came out about how the Dodgers are favored to get him from a betting perspective, the odds, that was interesting because that leads me to believe that maybe someone in the know with a lot of money believes that. But until he signs somewhere, and I believe he has till Monday at 5 p.m., until Monday, we don't know. Could he end up on somewhere? And I don't think he goes back to Japan because I think even if he doesn't get the big money deal, I still do think that he's in the major leagues next year. I believe that. We will have to wait and see, but I do believe that to be true. Renee on Facebook said, when did Skubal get into the mix? So there started to be, I got some little clarification on that. So apparently the Dodgers and the Tigers have had a back and forth kind of direct line of conversation. Speaking on Skubal back to the 2024 trade deadline. So when they were in talks for potentially Crochet, when they were in talks potentially for Skubal, when they got Flaherty, when they got Kopech, when they got those guys, the Dodgers were thinking of doing something crazy, crazy big with either Crochet or Skubal. But the asking prices for both those guys were so crazy high at the time that the Dodgers just didn't step up to the plate, but they kept communications open. And as a matter of fact, they had the right of last refusal with the White Sox for Crochet before he was sent to the Red Sox, because the Dodgers and the White Sox have such a good working relationship. They also share their spring training compound or complex, whatever you want to call it, that they have a very good relationship. So they have pretty much had a standing when they had one with Luis Robert Jr. all season too, kind of like the right of first refusal if they did move him. And they had that on Kopech, they had it on Robert, they had it on Crochet, they had it on Cease. And the Dodgers really only jumped on the one of them, which was Kopech. But from what I'm understanding, that they kind of have been talking on Skubal with the Tigers for a couple of years. So when that started coming up around the winter meetings, the reason I was calling BS on it, not the person saying, and I want to be clear about that, what I was calling BS on was the timing. I did not think any way, shape, or form that deal was going to go down with an extension during the winter meetings. Made absolutely no sense to me, and it didn't happen. Now, he didn't just come out of nowhere. Someone throwing it out there that the Dodgers are in on Skubal or trying to get Skubal. That is not new. That's not new news. That's not breaking news. That's been for years. And I think the Dodgers are probably entering that space where they are at their most serious right now when it comes to discussing a trade for Tarik Skubal. I think they are at their most serious point. And with that being said, I think as conversations progress, as the days, weeks, month go by, that level of seriousness will only increase. And if you're the Tigers and Scott Boras, that bodes well for you. Now, at some point, the Dodgers will be like, this is too much, and will bow out like they did last time with Skubal, like they did with Crochet. But I think this time They're a little bit more willing to go all in on it if it makes sense for them. Then the Mets, I think, will go all in even if it doesn't make sense. I think they will go ballistic, which is why the Dodgers don't want this to get to market. They don't want this to get to market. And I'm sure Skubal, in his heart of hearts, is like, look, I don't want to risk another injury or a potential down year. Like, I don't want to risk that. Not that he's going to have a terrible year, but you're coming off back-to-back Cy Young award-winning seasons. His stock may never be higher. His stock may never be higher. The Dodgers' obsession with getting a three-peat, potentially on the eve of a lockout, the chance to receive the biggest extension in Major League Baseball history, and a willing trading partner that has MLB-ready talent as well as a very deep farm system, this lines up. But will Boras bend the knee? Will he agree to an extension? Will he agree? What's that line? No need to worry. My accountant handles that. In this case, it's his agent. I do not believe that Skubal will overrule Boras here. I don't believe that. If Boras bends the knee and says, hey, as your agent, as your partner, I recommend the extension now because they have players that your current team would like to have. They have the money to give you the extension that you would like to have. And this is a different scenario because of the pending lockout or the perceived pending lockout. This is the only way and only time that I see this as the window slightly being open to Boras doing an extension. It's because this little perfect storm that we find ourselves in this little thing of ours. This is kind of where we find ourselves right now, in a very, very weird kind of world. Kind of just drifted off into another dimension here where we could talk about Boras and an extension. I still don't think the odds are in the Dodger favor that happens, but it's not at a zero. And I think it's above 30% right now. But there's a lot of things in play that can tip the scale the Dodgers' way when it comes to an extension that Boras hasn't really had to consider these elements in the past. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Lakers Dodgers for life. What's up, brother? Are the Tigers really that stupid to let Skubal walk and get nothing in return, knowing he's not coming back? No, I don't believe that they will let him get to free agency. My stance on it is, if you're the Tigers, you could still get a very good deal done around the trade deadline, and you can get your team into playoff contention. And if you make a trade with Major League ready talent and prospects at that time, you still have a chance to get into the playoffs. So there's no gun to the Tigers' head right now. There's no deadline looming. The deadline is July 31st. So they're way, way, way away from that. We're over 7 months away from that. There's no gun to their head. There's no rush. The only thing that hurts the Tigers is the Dodgers backing out. That's the only thing that hurts the Dodgers. And hurts the Tigers. And I don't believe the Dodgers back out until they believe there's no deal. I don't believe they back out until they believe there is no deal. The Dodgers don't negotiate with emotion. If they move on, they move on, but they're not moving on until they just feel that it's not worth it, or they feel the Tigers aren't negotiating in good faith. That's the only way that happens. That's the only way that happens. Hepatitis C later. What's going on? Seager is a guy that the Yankees should jump on. I agree. Selfishly, I want the Dodgers to at least stick their beak in the Seager combo. I agree with both those points. I agree. I had said last year that of all the guys that we had talked about, let's bring them home. Let's bring them home. Let's go. Let's go get the band back together. My guy has always been Seager. Always. Can move him to third. Lefty bat. World Series hero for the Dodgers. That's always been my guy. And when you look at the money you'd be giving him versus Bellinger, it's comparable. And I trust Seager more than I trust Bellinger. So if they're in on Bellinger, I would go Seager in a hot second. Hot second. Especially if Texas is really to kind of nibble on some of that feria. If they're willing to eat a couple of those ducats, take some of that cash off the top, just a little off the top, then I'm all for that. I love Seager, and I still think he can have major moments. Major moments. Guy can play short, he can play third, he could probably play first. And if the event that Freddie, gets injured. So yeah, I agree with both those. And I also don't understand how the Yankees are not going full court press on him. I have no idea why he's not a Yankee already. I have no idea why. Now, if Bregman dips on Boston, maybe that opens up something there. If the Cubs can't get Bregman, maybe that opens something there. Vientos in New York can maybe go to first. Something there. I think Seager's in play for a lot of teams in the Northeast. And I don't know how he's not there already, to be honest. I have no idea how he's not there already, but I totally agree with you on that. Become one with the bandwagon. He's talking to Serge. Skubal is the type of guy you turn your offseason plans for, but honestly speaking, our main concern coming into the offseason was offense, our outfield, especially with River, Ryan, Stone, Hurt coming back. I agree. Like, we're on the same page today. We're on the same page. Well, I mean, you usually bring good points. You usually bring good, measured, thought out, points. So I appreciate that. I think that's all spot on. I really think it is. Go says, year 3 of the Ohtani era in LA. I predicted these 3 parts finally come together and dominate: offense, starting pitching, and bullpen. That's a good take. I talked on this before too. I go, we had the year with the bullpen. We had the year of the starting pitcher. And could this be the holy trinity where everything just goes ballistic and they dominate on the way to the three-peat? And I've also said that I can see year 3 being way better than year 2, when I always thought the year 2 was going to be massive. Then it ended up being the year to get them. Like, that was the year to get them. If you were going to get the Dodgers, it was last year. It was last year, and they still didn't got. Cantada couldn't get it done. Oh, Cantada couldn't get it done. They had him, and they let him off the hook. What's that from? Gid says, Dodgers should offer Kyle Tucker 5 years, $225 million. I think that they will be somewhere in the range of that, 4 to 5 years ish, in that range of things. Young says, getting Skubal is almost guaranteed to win World Series with rotation along with Yama, Snell, Ohtani in a 4-7 game. Yeah, I agree. Depends on what the Jays and Mets are going for. Mr. Classic, I agree with you. Bring us Bo or King Tuck, Showtime LA. What's going on, Showtime LA? Yeah, I think the Bo Bichette one is interesting to me. Like I said, it doesn't come without challenges. But I know the Dodgers really like him. The Dodgers like him. And if they've been linked to him for a while, and he's one of those guys that when the Dodgers get linked to a guy for a while, they're kind of linked, and eventually happens. Bo Bichette is that guy right now. Mr. Classic says the Mets are not happy with Soto's contract, so don't think the Mets are going to try and win. Tucker at $400 million. I just don't know if he's getting $400 million is what I'm saying, but I agree with you. Good thing is, even if you trade big pieces for Skubal, you can always address your outfield free agency to not trade more prospects, right? Every night there's some crazy police activity in the last week. Helicopters. This is a whole, I don't know what is going on out there. I just saw the light, they do a spotlight at the helicopter. Whoa. Craziness. Let's see. So that means it's down to Jays and Dodgers for Tucker. That's what it feels like. Always be aware of the mystery team in the MLB. Always. Tucker will be a Blue Jay or Dodger. That's what it feels like right now. That's what it feels like. I just don't think the Yankees can or will. They can. I don't think they will. The Mets, I just don't see it right now. Haven't heard anything about that. Boston just doesn't seem willing to spend long term. And if they're going to offer a similar Bregman deal, why would he choose that over the Dodgers? The Cubs seem to be kind of out of him from the get-go. I never understood why the Giants never got in on this. To me, this had the Giants written all over it. Posey just ain't getting off his ass. I don't understand what the Giants are doing. I'm not a Giants fan. I'm a Dodger fan. But when I'm seeing teams who have very wealthy owners, the means to sign players and just sit on their hands and then cry about what other teams put the money back into their teams, and their fan bases cry. What's going on? Don't care. What's up, Jeff? You back on the grind? Seeing you stream more. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, you know what? I've had some time. And last year I did not have a whole lot of time. And in especially the last 3 to 4 months, very, very limited time. I'm still very busy, but I've been getting home a little bit, getting home, getting settled, getting things done, and kind of freeing up my time slot, like being kind of done with everything by around 8:30. You know, before it was like 10, 10:30. 11. I wasn't about to start a stream then. Get up early as hell the next day. So it's been nice to kind of get home, get things settled. You know, look at the family time, handle the career responsibilities, handle the husband responsibilities, then be able to have some me time and we time over here and do some streams. So I appreciate that. Hopefully this little break here from all the craziness that has been my life in 2025. Hopefully we're turning a corner. And if that's the case, then I would expect to see a whole lot of this big old head on your screen. And as I wanted to, and I wanted to do this in 2025, but something bigger than me had other plans. And I really want 2026 to be the year I just do it. I go after it. And I've purchased more equipment. I've invested in myself on this. I've invested in this grind. I'm locked in on this. I really want to. My thing has never been about wanting to do it or the love to do it. My thing has always just been my scheduling, my availability, and my priorities and things I had going on in my life. And now that I've kind of set myself up for a stronger 2026 in this realm, I would expect and hope that I'll be able to deliver on that. And hopefully, we continue to grow and you guys still rock with me and stay with me through all this. And I really do appreciate y'all sticking with me, being so unreliable from a streaming standpoint. I still give you clips. I still give you videos. I'm staying on my grind still. It's just the streaming has been a challenge. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you pointing that out. And I'm really trying to get back to that. So thank you. Don't care. I appreciate that. Mr. Classic said, it's been a while since we've heard Tucker was at the Jays facility. That's bad for the Jays. Well, so that's what I talked about. So when I specifically said that teams are speaking with agents or agents and players via Zoom to talk numbers, that's one of the guys I was talking about. So you go, you visit the facility, you go, you check it out, you get a feel for it, you see what's what, you meet face to face, because it gets a little awkward when you have free agency meetings and you just never meet the people, especially a guy of that stature this year, the top quote unquote position player, free agent, right? And if you didn't go meet them, then the Blue Jays are going to feel like, we're going to give potentially $400 million to a guy who won't even come see us. So he went out there, and for all we know, it's been once. But I've been told there has been numerous talks via Zoom or whatever platform they do for digital meeting, numerous times. And that's not uncommon. You go, you make the visit, you do the face-to-face, you do the introduction, you meet everybody, and then you check in every 1 to 2 weeks, like we are doing right now, and you continue the conversation. So it's not very abnormal because talks are ongoing. Mr. Class is pretty much down to the Dodgers. The bandwagon says, can Jeff answer the question, how come Clayton Kershaw isn't credited with 3 World Series wins? It says he only has 2, but was on the team during the Dodgers' 3 World Series wins during his tenure. Well, he wasn't on the roster. He wasn't on the roster in 2024 due to injury, but he was on the team, so he got a ring. And 2020 he pitched, and 2025 he pitched. So I'm not sure where you're getting that from, because from everything that I know, he is credited with 3 World Series titles. From everything that I've seen, he's even said he's a 3-time World Series champion. The Dodgers announced him as that. Lucky, what are you doing? What are you doing, Lucky? Lucky's over here breakdancing. But from everything that I've seen and heard from both the Dodgers, Kershaw, he is credited as far as, unless I'm tripping. He's credited with all of them. There'd be no reason why he isn't. Was that good? Says trade Emmett, Robleski, Hope, Rushing, Freeland, and Bobby Miller for Skubal. Look, it's not about, for me, I think the Dodgers have what it takes to get a deal done. Absolutely. I just don't think they offer a massive package without an extension. Joe says Kershaw is credited with 3 titles. Did you read that? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I know. Unless some team can come out and give Tucker $400 million, which is probably doubtful. Tucker is a Dodger. I won't. Oh man, something is going down. Like, multiple sirens, multiple helicopters. I thought I heard shots, but oh man. What was I saying? Don't underestimate the desperation of the Blue Jays. I believe they overpaid for Cease. So I believe they will overpay for Tucker. They will probably be the team that offers the most overall money and overall years. I believe they would overpay for Bichette if they miss out on Tucker. So there is the conversation that has to be had of don't underestimate the desperation of the Toronto Blue Jays, because I think that's an absolute real thing. I think that they are, I don't want to use the word desperate, but I feel like they've got to try a lot harder and spend more to get players to go to Canada. To me, it's just a real thing. Hepatitis C letter said Snell done in 4 years, Freeman done in 2 years, Teo done in 2 years, Glasnow, Diaz, and Scott done in 3 years. Trying to done next year. All the money projected to come off the books looking clean. Yeah, man. That's how you run the books. That's how you run the books. You got the Dodgers have the cleanest accounting in the sport. They got the deferred money, $1 billion in deferred money, but it's no big deal. It's no big deal. It's just over there chilling. It's over there chilling. People love to not bring up the fact that $680 of that billion is Shohei Ohtani. I mean, when you're 68% of the number is one player, they conveniently leave that out though, right? Conveniently leave that out. That once-in-a-lifetime player with that once-in-a-lifetime contract, just leave that out. That's cool though, because we know what it is. Probably didn't update it. ESPN still hadn't updated the yearly title winners the day I checked. Oh yeah, so yeah, Kershaw is credited with 3 World Series champions. 3 World Series championships. I don't know why wherever you're looking at hasn't updated it. Now, when you say 2 World Series wins, is that game wins or are you talking about championship titles? Because Kershaw has 3 titles. Seager doesn't want to be in LA. Why don't y'all stop asking for Seager? Well, first of all, Philip, I'm not asking for Seager. I got asked a question, and it's been rumored that he is. And it wasn't about Seager didn't want to be in LA. The Dodgers didn't make him an offer. The Dodgers didn't really go crazy after him. They, again, started conversations, kind of talked. He didn't really get back because he sensed that the Dodgers really weren't. They'd already traded for Turner. The writing was on the wall. They were kind of already letting it be known that year that Seager was gone, that they didn't offer him an extension. They didn't really go hard after him in free agency. So it's not that he didn't want to be in LA. He said, I loved it here. I grew up here. The Dodgers just weren't going to pay what Texas paid. And now Texas is trying to dump that contract. And he always speaks highly of his time in LA. And I think that if given the opportunity to come back to LA, if he's traded from Texas, I think he would embrace that, no doubt. But I don't necessarily think it's going to happen, but I definitely think it's a possibility and I think he would definitely do it. Is it Danny Green? What are you talking about? Young says with Skubal in the rotation, Glasnow will not even be a rotation guy who may well be an ace on any other team. That's just ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, no, he'd be in the rotation because he'd be giving up Sheehan, and yeah, he would be in the rotation for sure. But I get what you're saying. Skubal, Yoshi, and Snell, and you're down 3-0 before you can blink, says Showtime LA. Facts. What's going on, Aaron? Appreciate you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you. Let's go to Trayvon. What's going on, man? Jeff, you had a choice to sign Tucker, or would you get Seager? Tucker. I go Tucker. Just was he 29? He fits the more of a need of what you need right now of a corner outfielder. And but again, it would be maximum of like 4 years. Bichette is young enough where he can take 1 year deal and not really have it impact how other teams view him. Next free agency, 27 years old. Isn't he 28? Is he 28 or am I tripping? Get to the chopper. That's funny. What's going on, Aiden? Yankees fans here, in my opinion, the Yankees aren't really that good of a team. They are good on paper, but they aren't. That's what we talked about this numerous times because it really feels weird and odd and strange to see the Yankees kind of go out like this, right? And kind of how they are right now. This doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel right. Again, I'm a Dodger fan, but I like when the Yankees are good. I love seeing Yankee Stadium come playoff time. I'm not a Yankee hater. I'm a Dodger fan, but half my family's from New York and the other half is from out here in LA. Well, not necessarily. It's LA, New York, Kansas City. But some of my dialect is all screwed up. But I love watching important Yankee games. I love it. Absolutely love it. I don't understand. Well, I do understand, but I understand where they're at. What I don't understand is why they're not doing something like the Lakers did to try to figure out of it. Bring someone in to be the bankroll. The family still owns majority, and then you got that person's bankrolling you because they got the right of first refusal if and when you sell the ball club. Bring in someone with pockets. Not that the Yankees don't have pockets, but they can't compete with Cohen and Guggenheim. Like, it's the Yankees. You need to get an influx of cash flow over there. And soon. Gonna have to offer 5 years for Bo, in my opinion. That I do agree with, though. I don't think he takes 1 year, though. He's young, but definitely not a 1 year guarantee. He's probably gonna want kind of, again, like a Bregman deal. These guys are no way taking 1 year deals. Seager always injured. He's feast or famine. He's not always gonna show up hot in the World Series. I get it, but he's 2 for 2 in the World Series. He's 2 for 2 in the World Series. I have Bellinger to Dodgers, Tucker to Blue Jays. The Yankees are getting nervous about the Mets when it comes to Bellinger, and I'm getting nervous for the Dodgers when it comes to Bellinger because I'm worried that he's going to get here and just be terrible. I don't want that. I'm just afraid of that. So I want to be clear. I'm afraid of that happening. That Soto contract going to turn into the worst one in history. Ohtani contract already paid off, 2 titles counting. Yeah, that Ohtani contract literally paid off. Both financially is already paid off and winning is already paid off. So it's nothing but facts there. It is a steal. I'm just saying we ain't going to be able to get him for 1 year. Oh, yeah. No, I hear you. I agree. If Dodgers sign Belly, I will be happy. Everyone really, really wants to go down the nostalgic path, huh? What's going to happen if this guy's batting 197 and defense starts declining? Oh, no. Bichette had a knee injury, though. I'm not betting on him being 100% healthy next season. or the next. What's going on, John Cooper? Still looking over the Bichette signing elsewhere. The guy needs to sign with whoever he ends up with and get in the system already. Baseball's a machine, not plug and play. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Baseball is definitely not plug and play. And like I said, Bichette to the Dodgers does not come without some challenges. But we'll see. Bellinger's ship has sailed. Dodgers can't afford for him to slump again. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Who would be better in center field, Pages or a healthy Tommy? Different. It's crazy to say that Pages doesn't cover the ground because we saw that catch he made in the World Series, but that ball was in the air for a while. Tommy has more range. Pages has a stronger arm. They bring different things to the table. Neither one of them are an everyday center fielder. I'll say that. Pages probably would be his peak would be in right field. But if I had my choice of who would be my everyday center fielder as currently constructed, for me, it would be Pages. I don't want Tommy Edman in center field all season. He'll get some go in center field, but he's not going to be the everyday guy. I don't think he should be. Joe says, Pages. Mets confusing everyone. Don't pay Alonso, but pay Polanco, even though he is a second baseman, and you just traded Nimmo for Simeon, a declining player, and now have a hole in their outfield. Yeah. So Polanco was an interesting one. He had a very good year last year, a down year the year before that. And it looks like what they have done, and Simeon moved to shore up that defense, which had been pretty bad. Their bullpen and their defense seemed to be something they were locked in on. And if they get Mason Miller, it's a big if. If they get Mason Miller, they get Simeon for defense. Looks like they're trying to kind of clog up those defensive mishaps. Like I said, I don't think we'll truly know what their big plan is until they reveal it. But they're up to something. The Mets, the Yankees, I think are going to do something that people are saying, oh, man, okay. I think the Yankees are going to pull off something. I think they're going to pull off something, and it's going to hit like a storm. I just don't know what that is. And I think the Mets are going to do something that hits like a storm. I just don't know what it is. I don't think the Mets are punting or the Yankees are punting. They just haven't done it yet. And that's what I feel. Soto's contract is still not going to age well. I agree, Amber. I agree. Tommy is best at second. He's best at second, but he's best at utility. His flexibility is what makes him special, both in the lineup and on the field. If Jay signed Tucker, Dodgers will have a better chance to sign Bo. I agree. Amber said Sasaki and Yamamoto had been visiting a lot of facilities before. You said a lot of facilities. Let's see. Mets are having their own version of the Yankees 2021 through 22 offseason where they got Donaldson and IKF. I agree right now. But I'm serious. I don't believe they're done. I still think they're gonna do something. Kershaw is 3-time World Series champion, has 3 rings. Yep. I think he is referring to Baseball Reference. They don't count players' chips unless they were on the World Series roster. Yeah, Baseball Reference, which is true. They alter things differently. Like there was this one play. Oh man, it's in my mind right now. Who was that player? There was a San Francisco Giant who hit a ball that they called a ground rule double, or called it a single. Well, I don't remember what else. And he went to first base, and they brought in a pinch runner. They reviewed the play, reversed the call, called it a home run. And because the guy who hit it came out of the game, the pinch runner had to run around the bases and score the run. So the guy who hit the home run, Major League Baseball does not accredit the run to because he had already been checked out of the game prior to the ruling, which is just weird. And Major League Baseball and every other site credits the pinch runner, as the guy who scored the run. But Baseball Reference refuses to align with Major League Baseball's ruling on that. So they accredit the run to the guy who hit the home run. So Baseball Reference, you got to be a little careful with because it's not law. They bend the rules to what they feel it should be, not exactly what Major League Baseball accredits, which is crazy. Who was the guy that did that? It's driving me nuts right now. I got to find that. I think it's because of the injury. Yeah. Highly doubt that even with desperation. I still can't believe Dodgers signed Diaz for 3 years. 100% overpaid for Cease. If Tucker is smart and his work ethics and preference is going to stay the same for years, I would much rather stay in LA. Apart from his salary, he'll get tons of endorsement money. Yeah, he will. I don't know if it's going to make up the money that would offset from Toronto. Not saying it'll happen, but if we get 2024 Scott and Trinan Dependence the best in baseball, the upside, I don't know about Trinan. I need to see it to believe it, but I'm 100% convinced. I 100% believe that Tanner Scott is going to have a monster bounce back year. It says titles. Diaz wanted 20 per. Dodgers looking for a shortstop in the second is not where I see them putting money at. It's center field where they need someone. I agree, but I think the Dodgers, like they do with their front office, that if a former GM or a president or whatever becomes available and you don't have a GM or president role, the Dodgers have this thing where they just sign the best people and figure out what to do later. So they could very well go out there and sign a Bo Bichette and then just figure out what to do later. It may not be to a lot of people's liking, or they may not make sense to some people, but that's kind of what they do. They're not going to punt on a guy that could be a stud for them for 4 or 5 years or 6 years, whatever it is, because they don't necessarily need him right now. Again, they've got to think about this whole Ohtani run, and that's how they're approaching these free agents. I'd rather have players who want to be on the Dodgers and have hunger for winning than players like Soto, who is just there for the money. He ain't even a clubhouse guy. Agreed. That's why Jeff is light-skinned. Yankees haven't been that free agent bully since 2019 when they bullied us away from Garrett Cole. Right. That was the last time they bullied us. And like I said, they used to be the team that we went book for book with. Checkbook for checkbook. We tried. They sunned us numerous times. But that sunning ended in 2019. You're absolutely right. And we sunned them with Yamamoto. We sunned them so bad with that, they didn't even get, we sunned them so bad twice a year because they didn't even get into the offering for Shohei. They didn't even attempt it. And then we sunned them with Yamamoto. Sunned them. 77 watching, 24 likes, please like. Come on now. Hold on. Let's get some likes dropped on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And you're putting in this work. The least you could do is subscribe to the channel and drop a like on the video. We would greatly appreciate it. Let's get these likes going, man. Come on now. Drop a like on the video. Amber says, low-key, I watch Mets and Yankees games. It is frustrating to see the Yankees blunder every year. It's frustrating, definitely for Yankee fans. For me, the sport is better when the Yankees are good, if not great. I'd much rather see the Yankees good and great than the Mets. I think when the Dodgers, the Mets, the Red Sox, when you got those rivalry teams really going at it, I think it's just a better game. What's going on, Stephanie Can't Curry? I like Bo, but if Tucker goes to the Jays, I can see something with the Dodgers or vice versa with Tucker. Absolutely. See what you're doing, Serge. Let's see. Yamamoto is only 25 or 26 and is not yet even in his prime. Facts. Andy Paez is an elite center fielder defensively. His metrics are elite. I understand that early on in the season, Paez looked bad in center field, but we can all agree he no longer is bad in center field as time passed. I think that there were plays in the playoffs that he misread. I think that there are plays in the playoffs that if you had like a surefire center fielder there, like if it was Byron Buxton, if there was a guy that was out there in center field, that they would get that ball where Paez missed it. But I believe that it was a little bit unfair to hold him to the standard of an everyday center fielder when he kind of got thrown into that. I think next year, I think it's a whole spring training work in and he gets all preparation for it and coming back off winning a championship, that play he made in Game 7, I think there's a chance that he could become a very good center fielder, but I don't believe that he will ever be elite in center field. I think he could be elite in right field. That's just my personal opinion. Bellinger either to the Mets or the Yankees. I really don't have too much confidence in Belly right now. The way, he way too inconsistent. He looks like a New Yorker anyway. I agree with this. What's crazy is the only thing that is blood red in Andy Pajes' savant page is his outs above average in center field, arm value and strength. His offense is what people should be cautious about, in my opinion. So his offense needs to be concerned about for an entire season, right? That's the thing. I think people don't realize that this was his first full season in Major League Baseball. He had a really good year, but he had some really bad droughts. I mean, the power is there. He had moments where he looked absolutely great. I think that just being his first full year in the majors, playing center field, I think Andy Pajes has dealt with a lot last year that I think people aren't really giving him credit for. And I think that coming into next season, his second full year in the majors, I think we're going to see a potential further breakout from Pajes at the plate. I really do. Do you think Dodgers will end up signing Phillips by you talk about will they sign Phillips? Yes, I do believe they're going to bring back Phillips. I do. That bullpen looking good. Brock Stewart, Diaz, Scott, Vesia, Henriquez, got it all hurt. Trinan, I guess he bounces back. Dryer and Phillips soon. Yeah. Hey, health is wealth, y'all. Health is wealth. People act like the Dodger bullpen was ass all year. They weren't. They started the year great and they just burned out. They burned out. If the starters can stay healthy and not miss 75% of the season and give the Pentons some breaks, I think that's what they really need. They just weren't healthy from a starting pitcher perspective. And then the bullpen got unhealthy and then just worn down. And forgot Banda. Yeah. Banda. But that 1-2 punch with Scott and Diaz, and what makes it more better is one is a lefty and one is a righty. Yep. I think it's going to be crazy with those two. Cohen said Ohtani didn't even give them a call. I'm assuming he did the same with the Yankees, wanted to be no part of NY. Yep. Yeah, Will Klein. Well, Will Klein looked great in game 3. He was a dog out there. I want to see what he does with consistent relief work. Got to see that. I low-key like the Mets pre-Soda era. That seeing Alonso and Nimmo in a different uniform feels so wrong. However, Diaz looks good and felt right wearing the Dodger uniform. You're right. Yeah, the Mets letting those guys just walk for nothing just leads me to believe there's a bigger plan in place. Oh, yeah, how can I forget about the GOAT Klein? I think at least 3 in a row. I just hope Pajes improves his offensive metrics. I have James Outman PTSD. The metrics to Outman's 2023 is eerily similar. Man, I hope it doesn't go the same way. I'm gonna tell you this though. Those Cubans are built differently. Yeah, I think Pajes is gonna bounce back nice. Which Dodger prospect could be next rookie of the year if not traded? Rookie of the year, I don't know if anyone's going to get enough playing time to win rookie of the year in any time soon. I just don't see a guy playing enough games or getting that much exposure to win rookie of the year right now. Dodger bullpen has thrown the most innings the last 2 years. Can't tax him that much. Facts. Yes, more love for my boy Pajes. I believe Pajes would improve in time. Pajes is a team player. Absolutely. I concur with you. I concur and I agree. But yeah, again, I think the Mets and the Yankees are going to be active. I think something is still coming. I still think they have a chance to drop a bombshell on us. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know who it's going to be, but I think that something is going to happen. Do the Mets go completely crazy from a blow-up perspective and trade Lindor? Because if they do, what they get back for him, pay. You got to really pay attention here. You got to really pay attention here, because if the Mets are committed to a punt year, which I'm not saying they are, but this is very important to pay attention to. And remember this, if this comes to fruition, if the Mets have committed to a punt year or punt stretch, they got the guy in the bag already in Soto. He's signed for forever. All right. If they start punting, they let Diaz walk. They traded Nimmo for a guy that's less years and going to be off the books. Let Polar Bear walk. If they move Lindor and they start stacking prospects, I'm telling you, I think the Mets want to be in play for Skubal and Skeens. I think they anticipate having to battle the Dodgers out one way or another in that scenario. So if they start to move some MVP level players like Lindor, and they get a guy back that can, play right now for a year or two or help them, but not to Lindor's standard, and get some really, really top high value prospects, then they're in the game. They're in the game for Skubal and Skeens. So keep a lookout for that. Keep a lookout for that. Because if they go that path, if Lindor gets moved and no star comes back and they get like prospect rich off of it, those prospects, majority of them will probably never wear a New York Mets uniform. Or if they do, it'll be for maybe a year or two. So be on the lookout for that, because that is a very real possibility. And if the Mets go down that path, things are going to get interesting. Very interesting. Paz wasn't running 30% K rates like Outman, especially early in the season. Technically, Ryan Ward could be Rookie of the Year. Technically, yeah, great comments. Appreciate y'all. I would like to see Rushing get a chance, but I think he's going to play multiple spots. Catcher first, some left field, maybe some right field. I think he's going to get some chances. 6 more days until Murakami signs with the team. Yep. Mets are going nowhere. Not right now, but I definitely believe they're doing something. Skubal isn't signing an extension with the Mets. It's a Boris client, man. If they go typically to what they do, it's going to be to the highest bidder. Mets would be so ignorant to trade for Skubal because he isn't signing an extension. Not saying he's signing an extension, but when he becomes a free agent, the Mets could offer him more than anyone else. The Dodgers can't have Tucker. I would rather see Tucker in the Mets more than the Jays. He looks like he can go toe-to-toe with Soto. Yeah. Yeah, I just haven't heard anything about the Mets being heavily invested in that, but it doesn't mean that they aren't. Does not mean that they aren't. Just means I haven't heard that they've been heavily in on it. So, we'll see on that. So we'll see how things go. I'll probably be back up here tomorrow night. I'm going to try to keep this going and kind of stay on this. Let me get to this last comment before we get out of here. Do you think Freddie Freeman will resign with us? Will he retire? I think it depends how the next 2 years go. But I've asked that a couple of times. From what I've heard don't be surprised if Freddie's not done playing when his contract is over. And I do think that the Dodgers want him to retire a Dodger. I think so. So we'll see how that goes. So appreciate y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in. Drop a like on the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Probably catch you guys tonight. If you're watching the replay, let me know what you think in the comment section. Search you the best in the game. I love you, brother. Appreciate you. I will catch you guys on the next one. And y'all have a great night. Have a great Wednesday. And I'm out of here, y'all. I'm going to go walk Lucky. Y'all have a good one, man. Peace.